Ready?
In the Saskatchewan Under-18 Female AAA League, there's a group right at the top of the league that includes Swift Current, Regina, and Notre Dame. And so anytime these teams get together, it's a preview of the championship mix, I think, for this season.
Yeah, that's honestly where I was kind of going too. Whether this is a championship preview or it's a semifinals preview, I think it's one or the other, right? I mean, these three teams that you talk about of the Pac-8, they've really solidified themselves ahead of the group, and they've kind of taken off from the rest of the pack. I know Saskatoon's kind of in the middle there, but they've kind of been left to waste a little bit by even Swift Current, who's in third. Now, one thing might catch you off guard is Regina coming in has a very strong record. I'm sure the Wildcats wish they played them more this season, as they've actually had their number. Swift Current's taken 3 of the 4 contests that they've played, 2 of them in overtime. The other one was just a 1-goal win, whereas Regina got the most recent win, 3-0 back on December the 15th. So Swift Current's going to look to snap that, I guess, as Regina goes for their second straight win against them, and Swift Current's going to look to get back in the win column. And talk about the win column, that's all that Swift Current's done actually since that December 15th loss is win. They've won six straight.
One thing to note, though, the Wildcats haven't played since our last broadcast on January 30th against Weyburn. So that's a fairly long layoff all the way to February 9th, whereas Regina does have a couple of recent games, last Tuesday and Wednesday. At home, a loss to Notre Dame, 1-0, in a battle of top teams, and a 3-0 win over Weyburn. So they've also had a long layoff, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit less than what Swift Current's had to deal with.
And you talk about the layoff, Swift Current, before that game, hadn't played in 2 weeks. Before that, when they were just coming off the Christmas break and played Prince Albert a flurry of times there. So Swift Current's going to look to obviously need to get their feet wet pretty quick here tonight in a really tough matchup. And I guess saying that, maybe we should head on over to our pregame interview with Terry Pavley here just before the things get started here, as we're about 5 minutes out from action. Here with Wildcats head coach Terry Pavley, in a pretty pivotal game. I mean, you guys come in on a hot streak, but you haven't played much in the last month, just once. So kind of a weird one, whereas Regina is coming off a bit of a wacky weekend. They lost a game, and then they barely beat Weyburn, really. They only beat them 3-0. So, I mean, maybe they're a little bit down, and you guys are on a hot streak, but rust might be a factor for you?
I don't think so. I mean, we're on the ice enough, and we've played enough games that at this point there shouldn't be any rust in our team. We've practiced really well the last few weeks. We've been really happy with it. And we just got to make sure that we stick to our plan. I mean, sometimes a team like Regina, they have a certain way they play, and it's sometimes a little more fun to play that up and down river hockey, but, that's not our strength. And so, we really got to make sure that, we want to play in the offensive zone. We want to cycle pucks. We want to have net presence and, control the puck, just not throw it and hope. And if we do those things, all the games against them this year have been tight matches, and, you expect it's going to be a pretty hard-fought battle again tonight.
Yeah, you talk about plans, and I'm sure your plan going into tonight will be to shut down those top 4 forwards and the one defenseman that's clipping at about a point a game as well. So, I mean, outside of that, they don't have a ton of depth scoring, at least, or at least potent numbers outside of that. So, obviously, game planning around the 5 of them, and you got to be careful of the other ones as well.
You know what? We've done more focus on our team this year, and in some years in the past, we've worried more about matchups. But our message today was play defense first, and for us, that means we want to be collapsed to the front of the net when there's scrambles. We want to get a good stick-on puck in our zone. We want, when we do have the puck, we want to make sure we're below pucks. We don't want to cheat offense, and we want to have a third guy in the offensive zone. And, if we just play good team defense, we want to try to roll 4 lines. That's kind of been our game plan through most of the year, is that we like our depth. And, if we can roll 4 lines, especially in our playoff format, when you're going to play 3 playoff games in, could be 4 or 5 nights, I mean, the depth could come in handy. And so, you know what, we want to trust everybody. And these are good tests for us, because we're going to try to play everybody and see how we match up. And again, if we play good, solid defense, you know what, we're not going to worry too much about matchups. We're just going to give everybody an opportunity and hope that, we play the right way. And I think when we do, we give ourselves a really good chance no matter who we play.
What's going to be the key to crack through on their goaltending? I know they both have over 940 save percentages. I mean, you guys have no slouches in net either, but what's going to be the key on that end of the rink?
We got to get a lot of pucks on net, and we talked about, we're going to start tracking our attempts versus our shots on net, because as coaches we feel, we win games and we outshoot teams, but we feel like we're missing the net a lot and a lot of high shots. And so, we just want to make sure that, again, keeping track of that to make sure that we're on the right track in terms of making sure our opportunities are hitting the nets, because, we're really focusing on getting a good net presence. But you know what? You got to have some rebound opportunities if you're going to have a net presence. You can't keep telling people to go to the hard areas and then we keep missing the net. So, making sure we get pucks on net, having a net presence, and, against good teams and good goaltenders, your goals, you're going to have to get ugly ones, and you're going to have to play in the tough areas. And that's what I think against Regina is going to be a key, is playing in those tough areas.
Who are you looking to start tonight?
Carly Leonard's going to play net for us tonight. And, and then we're going to go on Friday night back to Aurora. We've been really happy with our goaltending, and, we want to make sure that they're both ready to go once we hit playoffs. And with the long layoff, like you said, one thing, the one position we do worry about a little bit is goaltending. When you don't get a lot of game time, I mean, drills and practice for the most part, you kind of know where the shots are coming from. Getting game time is important, just to make sure you're always focused, ready on every shot. You never know where the puck's coming from, what it might hit. So, we really want to make sure in this stretch here we get both of our goalies in. So, they're getting some game time and they don't get too long of layoffs.
First 10 minutes really critical tonight, you think?
One thing we like to talk about is, there's certain times in a game, like the first 5 minutes of each period and the last couple minutes of a period. Those are really momentum shifters in a game. And, if you come out and have a couple of good first shifts, that sets the tone for the first period. And if you give up goals late in period, then teams go into the dressing room, they're feeling really good. So, not that you don't want to play well in the middle, but, sometimes there is a lull in games. And so, it's really taking care of the bookends of both periods and making sure that we're sharp.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Terry.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, great to hear from Terry Pavley ahead of this matchup. And we're dealing with two deep, impressive teams. So we catch a shot of David taking a picture there. Let's listen to our national anthem. David, we're talking two teams that are really, really tough to score on here in the matchup between Swift Current and Regina. The Rebels have the two highest scorers in the league. Swift a little more depth in terms of production, but both teams don't give you much.
No, and I mean, you don't have to look very much past the two goaltenders in net. Carly Leonard and Swift Current sporting a .938 this year, and you look down the rink and you're dealing with a .941 in Peyton Schlamp. So, I mean, really good save percentages on both of these goaltenders.
The teams are all the way to center ice. We're set for action, and we're off. The battle between two of the top three teams in Saskatchewan has commenced. And the Wildcats will dump the puck into Regina territory as Johns chases it down, overskates it a bit, tries to backhand that to the line, held in for a shot, and Perlinger can't get that through. Chance to clear, and Regina will make a pass up to center off a stick, and Perlinger tried to clear it ahead, turned it over. That'll be dumped onto the Swift Current goal, steered aside by Leonard. Perlinger. Good pressure from Regina's Flynn. Perlinger is able to get the puck up for Watain. Fed ahead now for Swan, and she can't quite get it deep. Chance for Regina to clear. Thompson putting the pressure on, and that'll get banked up to center ice. Dumping it right back in is Jones. Bouncing puck in the slot, and that's going to be covered up and held by Peyton Schlamp in the Regina goal.
Kind of a weird one there. It kind of hopped off the backhand of Metzger, and it was like the puck was bouncing a little bit towards the goal, and Schlamp might have made the right play on that, just grab it and freeze it for a whistle as Swift Current wins the draw on Thompson.
Oh, a great chance there for the Wildcats right off the face-off as Thompson got it to the net, but blocked along the way. Quick feed ahead for Thompson again. Now Keller. Wrist shot blocked. On the wall. Trying to come up with it is Metzger. Back to the line. Held in by Jones. All the way around behind the net for Thompson. Now Thompson left it there. Nobody from Swift Current to collect that puck, and the Rebels will clear. Thompson again dumps it in off a glove. Settled down for Regina. On the wall. And they'll get it going the other way. Swift Current with the early pressure as Hayhurst dumps it in, not deep. And the Wildcats clear it right back out in the midst of a Regina change. Here comes Swift Current's Georgette. Into the right corner. Takes a bump. Puck comes around the boards. We have a couple players tumble on that play. And the Rebels able to get it to center. And that's going to be offside as Regina's Alexis Petford was in ahead of the play.
Yeah, that's a player you're going to have to watch. Leading the league by a mile in points. But back to the first two shifts by the Wildcats. Those are textbook. That's what Terry Pavley was looking for tonight. A lot of cycle game to neutralize the Regina offense. You're not going to give up many chances when you just cycle the puck in the offensive zone and potentially get some chances out of that.
Face-off collected by the Wildcats just outside their own end. Hansen's got it. She'll feed that ahead. Bouncing puck to the Regina line. Swatted at into Swift Current territory. A move towards the middle that time by Breakroots. Did not work out. She had the right idea. Followed up by Petford. Cycles that behind the Swift Current net. Trying to find it is Hill. She's pinned in the corner by Swift Current's Price. Up the wall. Urich trying to clear, and Price will get it out. You wonder if Swift, with the last change, will attempt to match with Petford in any particular way as this game goes along.
Surprisingly, before the game, Pavley said he wasn't going to chase matchups a ton. He felt he was confident in rolling four lines. He said, especially when you might have to play 3 or 4 games in 4 or 5 nights in the playoffs. So he didn't want to get too set on chasing matchups, surprisingly.
Well, that's one of the things, though, the Wildcats have said throughout this year, that they're looking to build their depth and their rotation as much as possible, which is a way to have success come postseason, as that slapped wide of the net by Petford and all the way back down into her own zone. You get used to playing a rotation like that, and every line having to play against the tough matchups. So come playoff time, if all of a sudden you find yourself having to take on one of the better players or better lines, you're a little more prepared than if you haven't done it throughout the year.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it helps your team build a bit of confidence, too. Any line can go out over the boards, whether you're in a pinch or just a regular situation where your top line might need a breather or your top 2 or 3 lines might need a breather.
Jones keeps that in for the Wildcats. Back down low behind the Regina net. Trying to come up with that was McNinch. Played away from her up the center. Last time Swift Current suited up, it was McNinch getting the hat trick in a 6-2 win over Weyburn. Moving into second place in team goal scoring in that one performance.
Yeah, all 3 of her goals were up high as well, actually.
Centering feed. Thompson tried to get that to the net. Came off her stick a little awkwardly. Keller gets it back to the line. Held in there by Bouffard. Now Thompson again. Shooting it. Hit a leg on the way. Good block in front for Regina by Daly. Followed up and skated in behind the Regina net and cleared. Back comes Swift. A bad change by the Rebels. Here's a quick chance. Stop, rebound. Thompson to the net. And Schlamp keeps it out as Metzger took the first shot. Thompson follows up on the rebound. And Peyton Schlamp tested early in a scoreless game.
I think that was the right play by Thompson, as the defender was converging on her pretty quickly in the center ice area. So she quickly deferred to Metzger, and it gave Metzger time to set up and let a hard wrister go. It was a little bit into the body, and Schlamp let a rebound go just in front of her that Thompson jumped on, but wasn't able to convert.
Back come the Rebels, trying to get that to the net. It was Hayhurst. Wildcats blocked it up. Pass across the zone, hits off the skate, and now cleared back to the Regina line. Banked ahead by Carper.
That chance was all made possible, though, as Regina decided to go for a change at the last minute.
Rebels trying to drive that to the front of the Swift Current net. Comes back to the point. Fresh off the bench, a backhand by Petford. Wide of the Swift Current goal. We've already seen her almost every second shift in the early going, I would say.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't maybe see more of that as the game goes on. I mean, I'm sure Regina knows what's at stake here, right?
Well, again, that sort of plays to Terry Pavley's strategy to not try to line match if she's going to be on the ice that much. Ends up being a bit futile. And now a penalty coming to Swift. A little hook. And then a check right after. A physical shift for Cindy Price. And it's just the hook they're going to call. Very close to 2.
Could have been more, eh? Yeah, and Petford's over there talking to the ref as we speak. Did Price ever lay a bit of a check on her her opponent there as she was back checking? So, yeah, Swift Current might have got away with one there, but I mean, they are going to have to kill off a penalty that's a loaded power play, to say the least, for Regina. You got Petford out there, Henderson out there, Hayhurst, Gerard, Nimigears. I mean, they're all point-a-game plus. Nimigears is a defenseman, and to be a point-a-game is pretty impressive as a defenseman in this league.
Wildcats get it out to the neutral zone, no. Quickly, and now into the bench. The play's whistle dead, but yeah, taking a penalty in the early going certainly opens up the door.
Probably not. The right thing you want to do is Swift Current was building a bit of momentum to start the game too, or at least they were carrying play a little bit more than Regina was. But let's see how Swift Current's penalty kill fares here against a really potent power play.
Petford moves it back to the line. The return feed doesn't get to her. Now she's got it. Pass that off. Gerard moves it across the point again. Trying to play with it there was Johns. Pass that off to Nimigears. Now Johns, Nimigears. Petford. He'll move to the middle and shoot. And a good stop by Swift Current's Carly Lehner, keeping that out.
That's a tough save because Petford moved into a shooting lane where traffic was, knowing that there was going to be a screen towards the net, and she let a hard shot go. And I don't know if Lehner got that with the blocker or mask kind of area, but it was up in her chest area. But she was able to scamper and grab the rebound pretty quickly. Petford back on the puck for Regina, back to the point. Nimigears across.
Now Petford again. Wrist shot high, bouncing puck. And the Rebels get it back. Petford has room. She'll shoot it. Blocker saved. Played to the wall. And the Wildcats able to clear it. Something you can see there, David, and part of what makes Petford a big scorer, a shooting mentality. Every time the puck's on her stick, she's looking to get it to the net. And we don't see enough of that, I think, in women's hockey as a general rule. There's a lot of talented players, and in this league, I see sometimes a tendency to make the extra pass, and she's not one of them. They'll get it to the net and score. A hard shot by Henderson, and well-developed play for Regina. Traffic in front, and I don't think Lehner saw that until it was behind her.
No, and it was a hard wrister right from the slot area. 20 seconds remaining on the penalty kill for the Wildcats as they fall down 1-0. But Henderson wired that off the post, about mid-high off the post and in past Lehner on her blocker side.
And they had a good penalty kill after that.
Yeah, they kind of kept everything to the outside.
They give the goal to Gerard.
Maybe she tipped it on the way in. I thought it was a Henderson shot from the slot area, though.
Nevertheless, an early penalty taken by the Wildcats on an offensive zone forecheck results in Regina taking a 1-0 lead. Not the way you want to start against a team like Regina that doesn't give up much. In their last 2 games, they've given up a total of 1 goal.
Yeah, and that was to a extremely good hockey team on the other end in Notre Dame.
Like banked out to center. Dumps right back in on the Wildcat net. Rebound is there and ripped to the goal for a good stop by Lehner on a shot by Regina's Molly Flynn. An innocent-looking dump in, and Flynn just won the race to the puck there.
Be interesting to see if Swift Current can stop the momentum that's headed Regina's way a little bit here and kind of turn the tide back the other way to more of their grinding, forechecking game and kind of grind them down a little bit.
Point shot for Regina, courtesy of Nimigears, and that's caught by the active glove of Lehner. Prince Albert products looking good in the Swift Current net despite the early goal against with 11:03 to go in the first.
It's been spectacular for Swift Current this year, picking up 10 of their 16 wins to this point. So,
Swan trying to clear that. Nimiger stole it back. Here comes Regina, building some momentum. Hayhurst the shot. Caught and held. And I was talking about shooting mentality. It seems to be all throughout the Regina lineup right now. They got one through, and everybody's taken it to the net. There's been 3 or 4 shots just in the last 30 seconds.
Doesn't that kind of go to your head a little bit, I guess, when you get one and you're looking for more, right?
Those
a killer instinct, maybe?
Yeah. Good block here by Urich. She's away, has a pass to the net, and she lost the handle on it. Gets it back in centers, whacks at it, and that one escapes. Out to the line, held in for Swift by Bacchus. Urich trying to center it, and she's upended, and that's going to be a penalty to Regina. I appreciate the effort there as Urich had the puck get away from her on that potential breakaway. She doesn't give up on the play and is able to generate a power play for Swift. But it's Johns getting the penalty. Body contact penalty. Wildcats a chance to answer the early Regina power play goal with one of their own. And that'll be quickly cleared. Battle for it in the corner. Here's Thompson. Backhands that ahead. Down the left wing for Swift, it's Georgette. Played it behind the net. Chance to clear for Regina. Held in. Banked ahead for Swan. Passed it down to the corner. To the line. Slap shot. Some traffic. Rebound was there. Backhanded towards the goal. And that's going to force Schlamp to make the save. A good hard point shot by Rubley. Creates a little havoc in front of the Regina goal. 1:19 left in the power play.
Smart play by Rubley. Kind of a half slapper. Hard. Just a little bit off the ice to create a nice rebound off the pad of Schlamp. And Swift Current did have a chance there to grab it.
Another face-off win for the Wildcats here. A point shot. Rebound! Knocked just wide of the goal as Perlinger's shot creates a rebound chance for Keller. And the Rebels are able to clear.
Right when it's easy, popular.
Back in comes Perlinger. Tried to center that Passes behind Watane, trying to keep it alive. They do. Nice play by Keller. Moves it to Perlinger. Little spin move. Slid down low by McNinch for Keller. She'll curl out with it towards the slot and shot it wide. That kind of came off her stick on the toe. Picked up by Watane. Back to the line, Keller. Over to Perlinger. Moves it into McNinch. Nice elusive move there. She crosses out front and can't pull the trigger. Gets it back again. McNinch to the line. Playing a little catch there with Metzger. Now McNinch again. Moves it down low. Watane to McNinch once more. For Watane, redirected it and stopped by Schlamp. Sent to the line again. Held in by Metzger. Good pressure on her. And we're back to 5-on-5 as the Wildcats had Regina hemmed in their own zone almost that entire 2 minutes, but can't get through with one. Here's Perlinger, rips a shot on net. And a good right arm save made by Schlamp on that one. Now Swift getting their shooter's mentality as we've got 8:05 to go in the first and a 1-0 Regina lead. Shots evened up at 8.
Yeah, and I think just a couple of minutes ago, Regina was up 8-3 or 8-4. So Swift had a pile of chances on that power play. And like you said, controlled play the entire time. So they might not have capitalized on the power play, but they certainly had some good work on it to get some momentum back. Let's see how they follow up those shifts, though, here when we're back at even strength.
Hard slapper by Rubley. Misses the net there from the left point. Held in at the right side by Hansen, but only momentarily. And here come the Rebels, who had all the momentum after their goal, but that penalty has gotten Swift back into this one offensively. Rubley will whack that out of the zone. Swift had the early momentum, had Regina pinned in their zone for a few minutes. Took a penalty. Regina scored. They took over the game. Then Regina took a penalty. Swift has had the momentum, but still down by 1. Here comes Regina. Shot deflects wide of the goal. Whacked at the side of the net there. Petford swats at it. That'll be cleared.
Rubley with another clear out of the Swift Current zone. She's been really strong in this game so far.
Here's Petford. Fakes the shot. Passed it ahead for Henderson.
What?
She'll wrap around with it. Works it to the line for Johns. That skips away from her. Urich trying to win the race to it. Johns will get there first, but Urich right on top of her. Johns turns to her forehand, and she's just forced to ice it. But Thompson, coming off the bench for Swift, actually ends up picking the puck up. It's turned back over to Regina, banked to the Swift Current line by Flynn. Some time with it now for Buffard. Will clear. Thompson. Fed ahead, left wing side, and dumped behind the net by Kerwin. Kerwin forechecks, helped by Thompson. Good job to win that puck. Now 2 Rebels on top of her, and Regina comes away with it. That'll be skated out to the neutral zone and dumped into Swift Current territory by Flynn. Buffard back for it, pressure on her. 2 players coming. Keeps her stick on it. Thompson can't get it out. Penalty coming to Swift Current. After that battle in the corner, Buffard's going to get it. And with 5:53 to go in this first period, it's a 1-0 Swift lead and another Regina power play coming.
Tough one because she kind of had a bit of inside position, but then she had a forechecker coming down on her from the one side as she was coming around the boards, and then she had another player on her there as well. So there was 2 of them kind of crashing on her quickly. She kind of got forced into a stopping up and ended up taking a penalty out of it as McNinch does what she does best and win another face-off, but turnover behind the net.
And here comes Regina's power play. Trying to extend their lead. Petford shooting off the glove and then caught by Lanner. That skipped out of the glove for a second and then she snared it.
Yeah, and there was a Rebel to that side of the net as well, so she had to be really quick on grabbing that loose puck. Is kind of maybe tells you a little bit how hard Petford can rip it there. That Leonard picked it out of the air, but just kind of overpowered her glove hand a little bit. Hayhurst kicked out of the draw, and Petford will have to come in and take it.
And the Rebels do get the faceoff. Back at the line, Henderson. Sent by Nimigears down to Petford. Henderson. Petford. Centered, broken up by McNinch. Chance to clear, cannot get it out. Off the stick. McNinch has got it, and she'll clear at the length of the ice. Back for it, back behind her net, Nimigears. Up into Swift Current territory, Hayhurst. She gets it back again for Petford. Back to the line. Nimigears. Fed that over now for Johns. Back to the line, another chance. Shot through. Nimigears drives a hard, low shot, and Lehner makes the save. 51 seconds left in the Bouffard penalty.
Lehner was out at the top of the paint there, really square to the puck. Caught it kind of in the breadbasket area and just held on. Really sound positioning as she was able to follow the puck kind of to the middle, whereas Nimigears wound it up and let it kind of go.
Chance to clear right off the draw for Swift, and Keller gets it out. McNinch will chase. Out of her net to play that is Schlamp, who puts it up the wall. Good pressure by Keller, but it's knocked away from her up to Swift Current territory for Petford. Petford turns with it, gets it across to the line. Shot wide of the net by Henderson. All the way out and down the ice it goes. Back comes Regina again. Backhanded into Swift Current territory by Henderson. 12 seconds left in the power play. Petford on a clearing attempt. She takes a hit there from Ella Wingert. Back behind the net, Henderson. Bodied off the puck by Perlinger. To the line, a shot blocked as we're back to 5-on-5. Wingert getting in the way of that shot attempt. Oh, now Wingert's upended by Henderson. And away come the Wildcats. Dumped into Regina territory, a race for it, and the Rebels are able to clear. We've got 3.5 left in the first. Nice move by Henderson. By Hayhurst into Swift Current territory, and then she's forced off the puck and clear. Backhanded back into Swift Current territory. Perlinger's there for Rubley. Up Georgette. Her pass is behind McNinch and turned over. Perlinger stopping the entry there for Regina, and that'll be whistled dead on the offside. With 3:04 left in the first. Regina leading 1-0 on a power play goal.
Swift Current got the kill there, which was pretty vital. You don't want to go down 2-0 out of the Rebels, but let's see. They got 3:04, like you said, left here. Let's see if they can kind of turn the tide back in their favor, get some chances, maybe a goal before the end of the period.
McNinch tried to pass that out to the neutral zone, got blocked. Fed behind the net again by Jones. Up for Swan, deflected out. That'll come down into Rebel territory. Taking it behind her net, Schmidt. Can't clear. Good forecheck there by Swan. And now the Rebels will take it out. Down the left wing side, that'll be fired into Swift Current territory by Rickers. There she is again, Petford. League's leading scorer back to the line. Johns, Nimigears. Down low for Henderson. Centered by Henderson. And Johns can't get a shot. And McNinch, little stick handle to clear the zone. Rebels push that ahead again. In comes Girard. She'll cut to the slot. Slides her shot wide. Henderson. To the point for a shot by Johns. That hit her own teammate, Alexis Petford, along the way. Swan stolen away by Girard. Will dump that back into Swift Current territory. Minute 35 to go in the first period. Henderson wrapping around with it behind the net. Works it to the line for Nimigears. Wrist shot. Rebound. Right pad save. Henderson scored. The first shot hit the post. The second's put in by Hayhurst. It's 2-0 Regina.
Bit of a tough break there for Swift Current. They got the puck out a couple of times, but weren't able to get anywhere with the puck once they got it out. And it kept being dumped right back in, and Regina it was almost like they were coming in waves there for the last 2 minutes or so. And eventually they capitalized there off a hard shot off the post, and it kind of kicked out the other side, and Laner wasn't able to get over in time, and Hayhurst just obviously kind of chipped it into the empty net there.
Those pucks just did not bounce favorably for Swift Current. A couple of good saves made by Kaler in the process, but every time it came off her pads, it went back to a Regina stick, and then even when it came off the post, it went right back to a Regina stick. So that's the benefit. You put a team on their heels by getting lots of pucks to the net, as Regina did in that last sequence. In a period of momentum swings, Regina's been the team that's capitalized on their momentum.
Yeah, they certainly have, and I wondered if Swift Current trying to break it out, they didn't have much speed at all. It was like they were just getting it just outside the line, but then they didn't have any speed or they didn't dump it. They got really flat-footed, kind of caught, and then they just get a quick change, and then next thing you know, Regina's back in their zone, humming it around again. So
down the stretch we come. Final minute of this first period as the puck's fired back into Swift Current territory. Not enough for an icing. Rubley stumbled with it a bit, got it back up the wall. Keller deflects it, and that'll be played ahead for Perlinger. Pinching into the rush now. She'll gain the line left wing side. Takes it to the corner and forced off the puck. And here come the Rebels again. Petford tried to skate that out. Metzger disrupted her. Now Metzger dumping it in, hits off Keller. That'll bounce to the corner. We've got 14 seconds left in the period. Up the wall, Perlinger at the line, fans on the shot, and can't get it back. That'll come out to the neutral zone. 5 seconds left. Ahead now, quick look, and fired wide of the goal at the buzzer by Paris Appel. A great start for Regina. They get a power play goal, survive an onslaught by the Wildcats when they had the man advantage, and then put the heat back on and make it 2-0. Rebels after one. A Regina team, as we mentioned, that does not give up a lot of goals. In their last 4 games, averaging less than 1 goal allowed per game. So the comeback is going to be a challenging one for Swift, down 2-0 after one. This is Swift Current Innovation Credit Union Wildcat Hockey on Amateur Sports TV.
David Zammit back here at the Fairview West Arena. Game between the Swift Current Innovation Credit Union Wildcats and the Regina Rebels. And as you can see on your screen right now, Regina is up 2-0 in the game. Shots are 13-8 in favor of the Rebels after the first period, as Zamboni's out cleaning the ice, getting it ready for the second period. And the second period is going to leave Swift Current a lot of work to do, or at least they'll have to start to chip away at that deficit they are facing currently. Like Sean mentioned just before we went to break there, 2-goal deficit against a team like Regina, not an easy task at all. Not something you want to have to do. Swift Current has a couple of times, I believe, come back against Regina, although it's only been 1-goal deficits in those, I think. So 2 goals might be a different story, especially with a goaltender stopping 94% of the shots she's facing. Swift Current will need to get the cycle game going again, as really, they had a couple of chances early in the period, and then they had lots of chances there on the power play, but the back half of the period probably wasn't their best, and that's where they, fell into a little bit more of a hole. We'll have to see how they respond here to start the second period. And another thing we got to keep an eye on is they haven't played a ton in the last month, and I know Terry Pavley, the head coach for the Wildcats, wasn't super worried about that coming into the game. However, one only game in the last month has got to be tough to get going again, especially when your goaltenders, and that's where he worried, the goaltenders' action. When you know where the puck's coming from in practice for goalies, it can be a little easy to dial in, but when you're in a game, it's a completely different story, whether it's for the players on the ice or it's for the goaltender, and I'm sure the reps for the goaltenders would be greatly appreciated. I mean, they're going to play a ton of hockey coming down the stretch after they've kind of had a slow bit here. They're going to turn around and they'll play Weyburn a couple of times this weekend, Friday, Saturday. They'll get Notre Dame again on the 16th, so next Wednesday we'll have that game, and then we'll have their following two games to close out the year against the Saskatchewan Stars on the 19th and 20th. So Swift Current, has a lot of games here on out before they get to the playoffs, so they will be able to get those key reps, get their goaltenders fine-tuned. I mean, their goaltenders have been spectacular all year, so I don't really know if getting the reps will make a ton of difference. I mean, Lehner's even been good here today. She's been tested a lot and made some key saves already, so maybe just getting the chemistry, the in-game chemistry back, that'll be helpful for that. And Swift Current will, have maybe a bit of an easier weekend in Weyburn this weekend, although I shouldn't say that. I mean, Regina only beat Weyburn the other day 3-0, and I know Weyburn was here recently, and a couple of their parents said that since they had a new coach join, it's been a bit of a different system, and they've played a lot better, and I think you've seen some of those results. They made Swift Current work for a 6-2 win here a couple of weekends ago, so you never want to take those games easy. And then on the other side, like I said, you get Notre Dame back here next Wednesday night, and that's going to be a bit of a tough task for Swift Current, but a task that you want. You want a measuring stick game just a couple games out before you go into the playoffs. See how you can match up against the top teams. And, I mean, speaking of top teams, you get the league leader here in the Regina Rebels right now, and then you get the second-place team in Notre Dame next Wednesday. So be interesting to see. We might as well take another commercial break on Amateur Sports TV. You're watching Wildcats hockey from Swift Current. Back here at the Fairview West Arena, we're about 7.5 minutes out from the start of the second period, and Swift Current's in a bit of a deficit here. They're down 2-0, and let's go over some of the game scores that they've had against Regina this year. They beat them 4-3 in overtime here back on October the 20th, one of the first regular season games of the year. Then they beat them 3-2 in overtime again on November the 3rd, and that was in Regina. Then they beat them the following game on November the 10th, the following Wednesday, 4-3 here. And I remember that game. That was our first game we called this year. It was 3-3. I think it was about 5 minutes left in the third, and Metzger walked over the blue line, made a beautiful move to get around the defender, and then wired a wrister past the Regina goaltender for the game winner. The Swift Current was able to hold on there. I don't have much intel on the game that Swift Current lost 3-0, and that was on December the 15th to Regina. That one was in Regina. And that's the only loss that Swift Current's had against Regina this year in their 4 games so far. But I guess if you're looking at the scores, the most they've given up to Regina is 3. And they've done it.
Game has ended. Score of 9-0.
I guess 3 out of the 4 games and won 2 of them. So, I mean, they haven't really struggled to get the offense against Regina going. So, I mean, they still have 40 minutes here. Tons of time to really dig yourself out of a bit of a hole here against arguably the top team in the province. And I mean, Swift Current wants to be there right with them. So this is a really good test for Swift Current. I wouldn't say back against the wall, but down a bit of an early hole at a home game late in the season. See if they come out fired up here, try and get on the board quicker. They just chip away at it maybe, and maybe they get one here and then maybe another one in the third, but they'll have to play some pretty sound defense. Obviously don't want to take any penalties or many as we move forward here because we know what Regina can do with the man advantage, especially with their snipers. I mean, they've got a lot of talented players, especially Hatford, who's kind of run away with league scoring. An insane amount of points she's put up to this point. Greta Henderson's no slouch. Brooklyn Nimigears from the point. Like I said, almost a point a game. That's really impressive for a defenseman in this league. Megan Hayhurst is lighting it up as well, and Allie Gerard. So a lot of big-time point getters on the Regina side. And Swift Current is a little more spread out, a little more even. They have Watane is leading the team in scoring there. Just looking at Regina's roster quickly, and one thing I missed earlier is they have someone from the Southwest playing for them. East End, Saskatchewan, down by Shaunavon. So, and that is Maya Gerard. Always interested to see the local players come back, and appears like they only have one. The next closest would maybe be Moose Jaw, and they have a couple from Moose Jaw on their squad, but really heavy Regina team. And that's probably to be expected. That's a huge drawing area in itself, and probably a lot easier to get some players to commit when it is your hometown. They got some White City players as well, and Moose Jaw as well, so. We're about 3.5 minutes out from the second period firing up here in Swift Current, so why don't we take another quick commercial break here on Amateur Sports TV. I'm David Zammit, and we'll have play-by-play here with Sean Mullen and myself here back in a couple of moments. David Zammit back here at the Fairview West Arena. We're getting close to puck drop for the second period game between the Swift Current Wildcats and the visiting Regina Rebels. Currently, Regina is up by a pair of goals after they were able to strike there in the first period twice, once late and once on a power play. And actually, both of their goals kind of either came off the post or their scoring chance that ended up helping them bury it was a result of a post shot as well. So, be interested to see how Swift Current turns the tide here, or attempts to turn the tide as we get play resumed here. Teams are just about So the teams are just coming back out onto the ice here. We'll get going here shortly. Swift Current's got a bit of a hole to dig themselves out of. So they're down 2-0 currently. So Current's out on the ice and ready to go, but we just got to wait for Regina here.
Fashionably late.
Are you allowed to be fashionably late when you're up in the game?
After they were able to
I don't know if that allows it or not.
the first
Here they
period
come.
twice, once late and once on a power play, and actually both of their goals kind of either came off the post or their scoring chance that
I think a good start to the period is going to be important here, David.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to go down another goal here potentially, and you probably want to start to get some momentum back after you might have given up a little more at the end of the period when you gave up a late goal.
Two teams come to center. And away we go. And it's iced immediately by the Wildcats, and a draw coming deep into their zone. Swift Current trailing 2-0 against a very good Regina team. And a face-off won by the Wildcats, a clearing attempt, broken up, and a penalty coming to Regina from the looks of it, David.
Could be big for Swift Current.
Sorry?
Could be big for Swift Current if that is the case. I'm not really sure what's going on here.
Looks like...
Okay, they had to find the culprit.
Yes.
It's what was occurring there, Sean. It was a lot of, no, I didn't do anything kind of deal, and then they finally rounded up the guilty party and put them in the box.
Wildcats going to work on the man advantage. Shot from the point. Missing the net from Metzger. Here's Perlinger to Metzger. Perlinger. McNinch moves that down for Keller. Back to Perlinger. Shooting. That skips wide. Trying to bank that out behind the net. For a moment there was Watain. Now McNinch. Perlinger. Back to McNinch. Hit her in the skates as the pass to Perlinger had a Rebel Hayhurst right on top of her and forced her to move it quick. And that allows Regina to get it clear. Now a turnover. Here's a chance. Ripped on goal. And it was the wrong person to give it away to. Petford denied by Carly Lehner.
Yeah, perhaps there's a flurry of players you don't want to give it to, but that might be the worst one to give it to.
Here's a chance. Point blank by the tough angle for Watain. And Schlamp keeps it out.
Watain was certainly able to improve her angle there, though. She was able to walk out kind of from behind the line and get a great chance at the side of Schlamp on her glove side.
Nice play there by Keller to fake going one direction. Now cutting out Watain again across the crease. Can't get a shot. Lost the puck in her feet. 30 seconds left in the power play, and Regina clears it. Chances to walk out there for Watain, and just couldn't regain control of it with the Regina defenders blocking that path. Long lead pass for Metzger. Gets away from her and is quickly cleared. Buffard misses it. And Kaler will move it to the corner. Fan clearing attempt there for Swift, and we're back to 5-on-5. Still a 2-0 Regina lead. And here comes Grice. Cuts across the front. Ripped on goal. That's turned aside.
Strong move by Grice there to kind of split the defense and get a great chance that Lehner was able to kick to the corner.
Swan can't get it deep. Work back to center again. Up ahead for Swan. Her pass hits off Thompson's stick and collected here for Regina by Daly. Moves that up for Ray Creeks. Stopped at the Swift Current line. Up for Swan again. Bounced away from her. Here's Daly. Up the middle. Dumped to the corner by Regina's Evangeline Hill. Battle for the puck on the wall. Steered back down low again. Swan can't get that one. It was in her feet. Once again, Swan. Fans on it. Away come the Wildcats. Shot towards the net off a leg by Girard. Backhanded to the line, and that one skips out. Berlinger feeds it ahead, no further than the Regina line. Urick's got it, but does not spot her own teammate, Olivia Kerwin, trying to fetch a stick right in front of the Regina net, so it's offside. 16:06 to go, second period, still stuck at 2-0 in Regina's favor.
Yeah, I don't think Urick saw Kerwin at all until she got her head up at the line and noticed Kerwin was basically right in front of Schlamp, trying to retrieve that stick that had been dislodged from her hand.
Puck comes back to the line. Wrist shot by Perlinger. Misses the Regina goal. John's nice move in the corner to get away from the forecheck and clear. Bacchus tried to dump it back in. Hit a player. She gets it again. Has some room to skate and shoots. And that stopped to the corner by Peyton Schlamp. Cleared up. Long pass. And a good defensive play by Perlinger to break up the Petford rush attempt.
Yeah, Petford might have been off to the races there if Perlinger didn't get back and play some gap control defense on her.
Petford backhands that high. Down into Swift Current territory. Trying to get to it is Girard. She'll shoot it bouncing wide of the net. Now Flynn lost it. Here comes Swift. McNinch fed that left wing side. Dumped in by Appel. Right on to the Regina net. Caught and held by Peyton Schlamp. With 15 minutes left in the second period. 2-0 Regina leading.
Took a bit of a weird hop on that dump in, actually. It kind of bounced up before Schlamp was able to grab it. Back to the point. Swift Current just dumps it back in.
Here's Watain. Swan. To the line. Wrist shot. Trying to redirect that with Swan. I'm not sure she got it. Held in left point by Jones. Now it skips out. Jones tried to pass it to Bouffard. Ends up dumping it into her own zone. Bouffard avoids Flynn's forecheck. Tries to go up the middle with it. Got blocked. Now they will clear. Cross-ice feed out of the reach of Watain. Followed up, though, by Jones and dumped to the Regina line again. Schmidt, long lead feed up to Petford. Continuing to double shift. Followed up into the corner. Sent around behind the net by Henderson. And away comes Swift. Thompson tried to keep that play going. Her pass doesn't get up to Metzger. And now an offside called against the Wildcats. 13:58 to go, second period. 2-0 score in favor of the Regina Rebels.
I'm just trying to count how many players are on the Regina bench here. It doesn't seem like a ton. 5 and 4, and yeah, so they're certainly a shorter bench than Swift Current as the Rebels go back into their own zone and look to play it up. Swift Current able to keep it alive, and that's Metzger who loses the puck in the offensive zone, and the Rebels go behind their net. It's Carpan on the puck for the Rebels, hits Petford. Petford into the middle for Girard. Girard's pass is picked off by Keller and goes in behind the net. Hansen, but that back play by Hansen's picked off and in front of the Swift Current goal. Keller with the puck, hits the red line over the blue line, looks for options, hits Thompson.
Well, Thompson has two Rebels converge on her, and that's cleared out. Now a nice little rush here by Girard, trying to get behind the Swift D. Almost draws a hook as Rubley tries to slow her down. Battle for it behind the net. There's a little burst of speed there from Gerard as she tried to go wide.
Would have been a nice move if she was able to pull it off.
Now gets cycled back behind the Swift Current net again.
Bit of blown defensive coverage there by Swift Current as a couple of them were standing around and Regina just went and got the puck.
Now a quick, tight move there by Regina's Nimigears. Cuts into the slot, but a good stick in the way for Swift to flex it out of play. It remains 2-0 Regina.
Not sure if the line there by Swift was tired or what, but they kind of got caught a little standing still there, and Regina was quick onto the puck and able to make something out of it.
Away come the Wildcats off a draw win, but trying to move it ahead was Urich. It got broken up. Followed up here for Swift and dumped in to their own bench by Olivia Kerwin. It's a good way to get benched, shoot the puck at your coach, but I think everyone's okay. Swift had numbers there off that draw win, David. Just weren't able to get the pass to turn it into an odd man rush.
Yeah, they had it 3-on-1 potentially headed.
A little burst of speed here for Regina, and Daly dumps it in. Cycled by Henderson, doesn't get to Daly, but coming in from the point for Regina is Schmidt to keep it alive only for a moment. Kerwin will clear that ahead. Here's McNinch. Tried to backhand that out front as Perlinger was going to the goal. Turned the other way for Henderson. Down the left wing for Regina. Her shot's blocked. Heads to the goal and gave a little whack to the glove of Carly Lehner, who will hold on to it. We've got 11:46 left in the second period. Still a 2-0 Regina lead.
For some reason, every time you say Henderson, my mind wanders to a play that was occurred well before I was born and before you were born as well. 72.
It's a fairly common name.
might be, but hockey-wise, I guess maybe not so much currently, at least.
I think of Harry and the Hendersons myself.
Okay.
Of course, the most famous goal in hockey history. The puck is sent wide of the net. Cycled back down low by Petford.
I feel like the Russians might dispute us on that one.
I don't think they have a better example.
Right.
Here's Petford. Fans on her pass, so she keeps the cycle going. Trying to break that up was Wingard. Petford, again, kept to the outside. She'll work it back to the line. A little bit of a stumble there by Carpin. Shoots it wide. Appel gets to it, trying to clear. And Swift is able to get that just out to center. Another chance now for Jones to clear it out. Her pass to Flex comes out to the neutral zone. Stepping up on it now for Regina is Gottslig. She'll move it behind the net. Bouffard, 2 forecheckers for the Rebels on top of her. Dug free by Hayhurst. Through the line. Shot attempt there by Johns. Misses the net. Up the wall for Swan. Tries to bank that ahead. It just doesn't quite get to Appel. Wildcats trying to make a change. Again, it's the second period, the long change. They'll get 2 players to the bench now.
All the forwards have changed as Swan was able to get out just before as well. So Swift just needs to get that D pairing off here, and it looks like they might.
Here's Watane. Nice rush down the left wing. Drives the net, and she'll shoot it high and wide. Had a lane to the goal, but not much of an angle for the shot, as that's ripped back on the Swift Current net by Petford. She'll bank it behind the goal. Following up now for Regina, Grice. Petford. Behind the goal, out of Grice's reach. Now Grice will get to it. And Swift will turn it back the other way. Pass up for Watane. She had her stick lifted. So that'll wave off the icing. Swan swats at it. Followed up by McNinch. Can't get it deep. And that'll be cleared to the line and across the zone. They do now get it out. McNinch for Swift. Good move to skate it back in. Now to the middle. McNinch tried to deke through Gerard there, and it almost worked, but then turned the other way and slapped by Petford all the way under the Swift Current net. And with Gerard coming in on her, Lehner will just hold on to it. 8:43 left in the second frame. 2-0 Regina leading.
I'm not sure as McNinch cut to the center, she realized just how many Rebels were in the slot area. It wasn't just Gerard by the time she got there. I believe it was 4 Rebels she kind of ran into and kind of ran out of room. But that's what Swift's going to have to try and do, is get to the high slot area or get to the low slot area and get some chances on Schlampus. They really haven't had a ton of chances this period so far.
Back come the Wildcats. Keller kept to the outside nicely by Daly. Dump back down into Swift Current territory. Icing's the call. Well, now an offensive zone draw for the Wildcats, who've been held, I think, to only 3 shots in this second period. 4 shots in the second period now. On the other side, it's been 7 for Regina. And the scores remain the same. I think fairly limited high-quality scoring chances for both clubs in the second period.
Yeah, it has been pretty low event, right?
Yeah.
Not like a ton of great chances either way. If you're Regina, you want that, though, right now.
You don't mind.
Right? Whereas if you're Swift Current, you probably want to turn up the heat a bit.
It only takes 1.
Yeah, right? Especially when it's only 2. It's not a massive mountain currently.
Rebels work that up for Hill. Forces that into Swift Current territory. Hayhurst trying to follow up. Can't. Wildcats get it back. Up the middle, off the skates of McNinch, and onto the Regina goal, so no icing. Back for it now is Carpin. And she's got Kerwin right on top of her. A little bit of help there as well from Urich. Carpin gets body position. Now some help as well from Grice. She avoids Ella Wingert and will move that up ice for Gerard, trying to go wide again down the left side. Buffard stays with her. Kept her to the outside. Puck came to the corner. Picked at by Jones. She gets some help. Wingert will move that up, and that's just ahead of Georgette. Now, Appel gains the line, drops it back to Georgette. In for Appel. And she got forced off the puck. Cleared out by Regina. Smacked back in as Swift has to get onside. And a little bit of time to skate here for Gottslig. She'll move it over to Grice. Slaps it onto Swift Current's goal. And Taylor's going to be real safe with that one. And hold on with 6:34 to go, second period. 2-0 Regina still in the lead.
Yeah, still not a ton of great chances either way.
No, not so far.
How many shots does Petford have of the 20 Regina has, you think? At least a quarter?
Maybe 5, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's been really good so far in this game. The puck's back to the center ice area.
Yeah, it's a player you can tell likes to have the puck on her stick. But out there lots.
Yeah.
As the puck came to the line, there she is again, slapping the puck wide of the Swift Current goal. I feel like Swift's starting to skate a little better. Again, they've kept their 4 lines. If they can break through for one, I feel like they'll have the legs on Regina as the game goes along, but they've got to find a way to get to the net.
Well, just look at Regina's bench. They have 4 forwards and 4 defensemen. It's kind of scarce.
Sent towards the Swift Current goal, and tumbling in on net there is Hayhurst, as that's whistled dead. I've been seeing a little more, Swift skating to the neutral zone a little better. They've got a little more jump, but Regina plays the house very well. They don't give a lot of room for Swift to drive. And I don't know if they're just going to have to get pucks and get rebounds or something, but I feel like they have they will have the legs advantage as the game goes along, but got to break through, and they certainly can't get down by 3. Here's a chance for Killer, and her backhand stopped by the right pad of Schlamp.
I think that's more what they need, right? Somehow funnel the puck to that slot area.
Oh, and a drive towards the goal there by Regina's Mans. She's upended, and it's cleared out. Rip back down the ice, should be icing, and is.
Could have been a too many men penalty too. They might call it. There was about 7 Rebels on the ice there. No, it looks like they're going to let it go.
They didn't touch it.
That's fair.
But a good decision not to touch it.
Yeah. There was at least 7 Rebels on the ice there.
Shot deflected by McNinch and caught by Schlamp. Just a simple play there. Bouffard got it to the net. A little redirection causes kind of a hop. Tough save. Now behind the goal. Moved ahead for Hill. Pass out to the neutral zone. Off Bouffard's stick. Backhanded into Swift Current territory by Henderson. Bouffard back forward. She got dumped. Regina keeping the forecheck pressure on. Turn it over. Here's Swan.
Nice active stick there by Swan in front of the net to come down as a winger, help out in your slot area and defensively and intercept that pass that was potentially danger.
And the play got broken up at the line, and Swift makes a line change. Comes back to Jones. Up ahead for Watain. She got stopped at the line by Johns. Up the middle, Grice. Gains the line, but she drags her own teammate offside on that play. Bringing Gerard over the line. 4:06 left in the second period. Regina holding a 2-0 edge they've had since the first.
Yeah, Gerard was kind of going straight, and Grice came across behind her, and Gerard kind of jumped the gun there a little bit. Regina wins that draw, but a turnover.
There's Urich. Boy, has she been trying to create some stuff. Good anticipation on a number of occasions by Urich in this game. Trying to create rushes the other way. And if you keep doing that, it's eventually going to pay off.
Her lane to the net there was a little impeded too, but she tried to fight through it and follow up, and made Schlamp end up holding on to it, which turns out for Swift Current as they've now got puck possession.
Ooh,
that's going to be
it. Getting up to try to dig for it there.
I believe that was Nimigears that'll be picking up the cross-checking or hitting. I'm not.
Price got right back up and then tried to dig that puck out to keep the pressure on. But
let's see what they call it. Cross-checking, I'm thinking.
It is Nimigears.
Oh, just
boarding.
But they weren't against the boards? I'm not really sure. All right, whatever. It's a penalty either way, right?
I think this is the third power play of the game for Swift, and it's quickly cleared. Regina 1 for 2, Swift 0 for 2. Wildcats could certainly use a late second period goal here. Stopped on their entry and forced back to the line. Rubley turns it over. Here's a chance, short-handed, ripped on net. And that got lost in the equipment of goaltender Carly Lehner, and Swift stuck in their own end. And Henderson stealing that one and creating some short-handed havoc.
Did Lehner try and play it, but then she couldn't find it? Is that what
it looked like?
Yeah. Because then the refs kind of did give her a second to try and move it, but she wasn't able to get it down in time.
Wildcats do win the draw. Now here they come short-handed. Or on the power play. Here's McNinch. Gains the line. Works it to the middle. Hurling her shot deflects high. Trying to bang away at its side of the goal was Watain. Followed up by Keller. To the line. And turned over there by Swift Current's Metzger. And dumped back down the ice. Wildcats had an excellent power play. Their first effort in the first period. Struggled to find it here in this opportunity. As the game gets deeper and your offensive confidence wanes a little bit, having not scored.
Yeah, they're going to want to get the puck headed up ice here quickly as they've only got 40 seconds left on this chance, and it's a pretty critical one headed into the locker room here in a couple of minutes. They probably don't want to still be down 2.
Nice job by Keller to follow up on that play and get it into the zone. 27 seconds of power play time left. Rebound, and Watain hits the post. A hard shot low to the net. Rebound opportunity, and Watain had it and just rung it off the post with now 12 seconds of power play time to go. Here's Watain again. Good stick on her by Petford, and then it's cleared the length of the ice, and that'll do it for the Wildcat power play. An eyelash away from their first goal of this hockey game.
The rebound off the post kind of came back weirdly, too, as Schlamp came over. It was in her pads. Then Schlamp turned, and it was kind of just loose there for a quick second, but Swift Current wasn't able to poke it into the empty net as Regina got there first to clear it from the crease area.
Certainly Swift's best scoring chances in the game have been on their man advantage, but still 0 for 3 despite all of that. As they move that puck across ice, turn it over, Petford shoots it, and that'll be gloved and held by Lehner with 1:09 left in the second period. And it's still 2-0 Regina, the same score we had at the end of the first.
Yeah, it's got to be tough there for Swift Current because Watain's able to bury that one. Really might change things. I mean, you still are only down 2, but you could be down 1 with a late goal in the second. I think it changes a lot of your maybe skepticism or just outlook on the game.
Down the stretch we come in the second frame. Bryce offside as she tried to delay that. It still didn't work.
Hayhurst kind of jumped the gun on the wing to her right side, making the play offside.
Draw in here by Swift. Trying to clear, they can't. Sent towards the goal. And that'll be covered up for a face-off in Swift Current territory again. 36.9 on the clock left in this period.
They had 8 after the first, so they got 9 here shots-wise in the second, whereas Regina's doubled up on their shot total, so.
Draw in by Regina. They had a late goal in the first period, trying to get another one here, which would be a brutal one to give up for Swift. Trying to give themselves hope going into the third. Here is Petford keeping it around the outside. Rips it across the zone. Newmager's shot. Nice block for Swift. By McNinch getting in the way. Dump back into Swift Current territory. Bouffard threw it up the wall. Wildcats try and clear. Held in by Newmagers. And she'll shoot it wide at the buzzer. 2-0 still, Regina leading. Relatively low event period, especially for the first 15 minutes or so. Swift on the power play late. Put one off the post. Off the stick of Jersey Watain. It remains 2-0. Regina after 2. And it's battle at the top of the U18 female AAA standings in Saskatchewan. You're watching Swift Current Innovation Credit Union Wildcats hockey on Amateur Sports TV.
At Collins Hotel, we have you and your family's comfort in mind. Relax in one of our 16 suites featuring king or queen size beds and 36-inch TVs. Suites also include a mini fridge and other kitchen appliances to make your stay as comfortable as possible. During your stay in Pilot Mound, visit Weiser's Restaurant, our attached family-friendly restaurant and bar. It is the perfect location to host group meals, dine with the family, or unwind after a hockey game. Come in and meet our friendly staff offering daily specials on food and drinks, Wing Night Wednesdays, Buffet Fridays, and multiple TVs to watch the game. Weiser's is the place to be. Collins Hotel, and Weiser's Restaurant and Bar, located across the street from Blackjack Stewart Arena off Highway 3 in Pilot Mound.
David Zamet back here at the Fairview West Arena in a game between the Swift Current Wildcats and the visiting Regina Rebels. Swift Current is currently down 2-0 to the visiting Rebels in their fifth and final installment this year, pending playoffs though, where these teams could very well meet, whether it be in the semifinals or the finals. Two of the top three teams here like Sean said just before we went to break there, wasn't a ton of action in the first 15 minutes. Swift Current had some chances, especially the post chance by Watain late there in the power play, late in the second period, but Swift Current unable to capitalize, and the deficit's still at 2 like it was after the first period. They're probably going to want to get one somewhat early in the third here, get some life, get some momentum going as they're going to try for a comeback here, continue their win streak that's currently sitting at 6 games. They're going to be looking for their 7th here, but they've got 20 minutes to potentially salvage that. But maybe we're headed the route that these two teams have gone twice already this season, and overtime is in the cards maybe, where Swift Current's won both of those games. They were actually the first 2 games they played against each other this year that went the overtime route. Shots in the second period were 12 by Regina, and 9 by Swift Current. Why don't we take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard while we wait for the Zamboni in the third period to get back. Over in the NHL, the Blackhawks are up 3-1 on Edmonton. The Flames with a big lead on Vegas already, 3-0. Coyotes leading the Kraken 1-0. Predators are tied with the Stars 3-3, and the Red Wings doubled up the Flyers 6-3. Raptors picked up their 7th straight victory tonight as they've been on absolute fire, beating the Thunder by 18 points. That's a pretty sizable win for them as they continue to march up the standings. Take a look on more local scores. I know there was the Legionnaires were in action tonight. They were in Notre Dame, and that's always a tough matchup against the Hounds, but they actually beat the Hounds more recently. And zero, almost the end of the second period between the Hounds and Swift Current, and it's been a really even game with not a lot of shots at all. Swift Current's leading in the shot department 13-10 with only 5 minutes remaining in the third. Bit of an interesting game there as Swift Current continues their push for the playoffs, and they've played really well of late against some of the top teams. They beat the Saskatchewan Contacts on Sunday 6-3. Big win there. Like I said, they beat Notre Dame recently 2.5 weeks ago, 6-5. They recently beat the Regina Pack Canadians last week as well, 3-2. So the Legionnaires have looked great against some tough competition lately, and where they're sitting standings-wise, those could be their first-round matchups. They might want to try and crawl out of that 8th spot, though, if they can.
Wildcats need to get that next goal. Well, the first one for them today. We'll see which team can grab it early here in the third frame as Swift Current gets it deep. Good pressure by Keller. She'll wrap around with it. Tried to center. That's blocked. Pushed up the wall. Bacchus thought of pinching, then backed off. Now turning with it behind her net. And starting ahead is Johns. Nice pass up the middle for Gerard. Takes it in against Bacchus. Took a shove. Worked the puck to Petford. Down Gerard again. Bacchus knocks it up the wall. Held in at the line for a shot. Redirected by Petford in front. But no angle really. Goes wide. Followed up by Thompson for Keller. Down the right wing side. Keller gets it deep as her teammates head to the bench. Threw it off the side of the goal. Gets it back. Nice job. Centers. McGinnis drives it wide. Excellent work by Keller down low. That whole sequence while her teammates were coming off the bench. Setting up McGinnis. Scored! It's in! Bouffard follows up on the puck and rips it under the bar. Wildcats are on the board. It's 2-1 Regina. A great shot by Bouffard.
Really smart play by a veteran defenseman. Third year for the Wildcats as she pinched down to the slot area, grabbed a bouncing puck, and ripped it up and over Schlamp's blocker side, like Sean said, just below the bar. Really great offensive awareness from Bouffard, though, to realize the puck's kind of loose. Swift Current does need to take a few chances, and that's a big one as it gets the Wildcats right back into this. And they're not even 2 minutes into the third period. That's kind of best case scenario here is you trudge on for a comeback if you're on the Swift Current side.
Doesn't sound like Keller will get an assist on that, but she made that play happen. I mean, end of the shift, gets it deep, and they tie the game! A shot from a tough angle. Just an innocent play there by Swift. Swan threw it towards the goal, and it banks in. Off Schlamp, it's a 2-2 score. My, has the momentum swung early here in the third period. Never a bad play to put the puck towards the goal. Even against maybe the best goaltender in the league, it pays off for a tie game.
Unbelievable. What a turn of events here. Swift Current racks up 2 goals in maybe 30 seconds here. And talk about being right back in it. We're all squaring. Swift Current's got a ton of momentum currently. Swan banks in her 8th of the season. A big one there.
Now they get the lead back. Just like that, Alexis Petford gets loose and roofs it for Regina. What have we just witnessed? An explosion of offense between two teams that battled for scoring chances that whole second period. Suddenly, it's 3-2 Regina.
That's unbelievable, and that just shows you the talent level Petford has there as she makes a beautiful move and goes upstairs. Hard for Lehner to stop that one as that's just a skilled shot. I think that's 3 goals in less than a minute, though.
And it's funny, like you're going to be really happy if you're the Wildcats coaching staff coming off a game where you hadn't generated much at all 5-on-5. You get 2 quick ones, get some momentum, but the reverse of that is you're not going to be totally happy with that next shift because of how vital it is to control the shift after you score. And Petford gets a turnover, makes a play, and it's a Regina lead again. But regardless of the potential balloon burst that comes from that goal by Petford, Swift comes at the rest of this period, I would think, with more confidence, and here they come again. Wrist shot into the glove of goaltender Peyton Schlamp, courtesy of Ava Metzger. You have a hard time generating any 5-on-5 chances, and then all of a sudden you score 2 quick ones. Even if they get one back, you're in a way better place right now.
Right? So not only do you have a bit of confidence offensive-wise, knowing that you can score on the goaltender, but then you're only down 1, too. You can score that 1 in the next 17 minutes. You don't have to score 2 all of a sudden.
Long lead pass trying to catch Gerard behind Bouffard. And Bouffard has got 2 points already this period. Broke that up. And she'll start ahead with it. Nice move at center. Gains the Regina line. Bouffard takes the shot. And that one's blocked. And slapped back in high over the Swift Current goal. Is it Bouffard or McCarr all of a sudden?
Looking like it, especially offensively. It's really impressive to watch, especially because she doesn't have a ton of points offensively for the Wildcats from the point. So interested to see a veteran defenseman kind of turn it on when her team needs her the most.
Urich back in her own zone. Lost the handle on it a bit. Bouffard will step up for it. Moves it over to Jones. And that's cleared out by Watain. Back in comes Regina's Johns. Goes wide. Drops it off. Here's Henderson. Wrapping around behind the net. Henderson still. Back to the line. Shot wide of the goal. Here's a chance side of the goal for Nimigears that missed. And cleared out by Watain. Urich trying to get to it, but Henderson's there first. Good skater. Drop back in their own zone. Gets it back again. Speeds down the left wing and got it deep. Look at her hustle. Bouffard trying to keep her to the outside. It's been a long shift for her. Now centered off the point was Nimigears, and her one-timer missed. Swan across for Watain. Now McNinch. Good speed. Drives. Heads to the net. McNinch made a move and couldn't put it home.
Talk about speed. McNinch kind of created that out of nothing. Went around the defenseman to the outside and was able to cut back in, but lost the puck at the last second as she was trying to get a chance on in tight on Schlamp.
And a glove pass called. That'll lead to a neutral zone draw. McNinch flying into Regina territory. Couldn't tie the game yet. 3-2. Rebels lead it. It was 2-0 Rebels after 1 and 2. And all of a sudden, a deluge of goal-scoring activity early in this third frame. It's calmed down a little bit since then, but my goodness. Two teams it's hard to score against. You just don't anticipate that kind of thing.
Not at all, especially with the way the game was going through 40, and especially the second period specifically, where nobody really had a chance at all to score other than the Watain post attempt on a power play late in the second.
There's a chance for Georgette. She'll rip one off a leg. Away now comes Bedford to center. Gains the Swift Current line. She'll drive towards the net. Hansen holds her to the outside. Bedford still has it. Back to the line for a shot. Good block by Georgette. In the corner now. Wingard had a puck stripped away from her. Hayhurst back to the line. Stepping in is Gottslig. Centers it. That doesn't connect. Appel's got it. Up for Rubley. Trying to get behind. Racing in. Rubley shot it wide. She had pressure right next to her from Gottslig. Couldn't fully get free. But a great job by Rubley to spot that open lane up the middle and jump into it.
Couple of, I wouldn't call them offensive defensemen for Swift.
Here's Perlinger. Driving, backhand, missed the net.
What's with the chances for the Swift Current defensemen out of nowhere?
They're activating their D, that's for sure.
You have Bouffard scoring first. You have Rubley on a partial break there a couple of seconds ago, and then you have Perlinger off the races there again. So look at the shot totals too. Swift Current certainly converged on the shot totals. They're only two back now of Regina's.
Regina's only had the one shot counted in this period, and it was one that counted from Alexis Bedford yeah. Upstairs. All alone in the slot for the league's leading scorer, and not much of a chance to stop it.
Swift Current's got to be happy,
though.
That's
goal 33 on the year.
That's ridiculous. How many games? 26?
This is game number 25.
Game number 25. My goodness. Is there a different league she should be perhaps playing in? Like, no one on her team is even close to her in scoring. That's what's kind of baffling.
As the puck swatted into Swift Current territory. Well, you see a shot like that. That's the difference maker. Turning, shooting. Grice had her shot blocked.
And then the shooter's mentality too, right? Like you were saying earlier, when you have a weapon like that and you consistently use
puck
it.
Racing forward with Tane out of her net. Oh my goodness! Shot off the side of the goal. As slam came out of the goal, Watane was just a hair late. Or not Watane, sorry. Metzger was just a hair late getting to that puck. I don't think she could have got there any quicker, but just a hair late getting there to have an actual break. And there was a late decision by Schlamp. Came out of her net at maybe the last possible second she could have and kind of got there enough to prevent Metzger from having a clear look, and she forced it to the net from a tough angle instead. Now a point shot by Jones is stopped into the corner.
Yeah, I think any later and Metzger beats her to the puck and just goes around her.
Well, or you just stay in your net.
Yeah, at that point, right? She's bearing down on you.
She should have been there probably 2-3 seconds earlier. But easy to say in hindsight, it still worked out for Regina. One thing that's clear in this third period, the middle of the ice is suddenly open, which it hadn't been. They protected the house, they protected the middle all game long. And all of a sudden, by activating their D, Swift is finding that middle more and more. You know, they get the goal from Bouffard from the high slot. They have the other one that's a bank in. Rubley a partial break.
Right after her was Perlinger on another partial break.
Then Metzger gets in.
It's like a freeway.
So
it's kind of opened up.
Got to take advantage of that as much as they can. Loose puck. Here comes Regina. Long shot by Grice will be gloved and held by Lehner, who's suddenly been not very busy in this third period. 11:01 to go. Shots are now evened up at 26 apiece, only 2 for Regina in the third. Face-off won by Regina. Back to the line. Oops, that skips out. Battle for it on the wall. Kicked into Swift Current territory. Hansen. Her pass deflects. Trying to follow up on that now is Keller. Steered towards the goal. Blocked. Run back around behind the net. And away for Regina to center. It's smacked deep by Grice. Hansen. Nice cross-ice pass. Up for Metzger. He'll slap that wide. Keller trying to get to it. Held in at the line by Hansen. Metzger's after it behind the goal. Tried to bank it. Back out front. She gets hauled down, and Swift Current is heading to power play number 4 in this hockey game. 0 for 3, but now only down 1. And the door is open again for the Wildcats with their man advantage.
Kind of a similar play to what Keller went through at the start of the period.
Yep.
Swift Current was going through a line change. Metzger stayed late, kept the pressure, went to center it, then tried to go after her own centering play, and that's where the infraction was made.
There's a centering feed. Knocked wide. Held in at the line for Swift by Bouffard. Georgette. Battling for it in the corner. Swift works it back to Bouffard. Thompson. Give and go, and she whacks it wide. Bouffard at the line. Ripped across left point. Rubley shoots. Oh, that hit the post. And back for Regina. A short-handed rush by Henderson. And forced to the outside by Rubley. And Henderson will go for a skate, which she can. Great job by Rubley to get back and take the lane away, because that's a lot of speed coming in for Regina. A minute to go on the power play. Swift, another post. Their second post hit on the power play in this game.
Still got
In
some
a game
time,
you're down
Swifty.
one, those posts make a huge difference. As Georgette will skate it up the middle. Cuts wide. Gains the line. Takes it to the corner. Gets some help here from Swan. She'll dig the puck loose. Swan curls out. Shoots it off the shoulder of goaltender Peyton Schlamp and out of play. Looked like she was going to go back to the line to Metzger, and she saw a little opening, and Schlamp's able to get that right shoulder on it.
Tough angle to score from, but the shot really makes you think she must have saw something there, because she came awful close to maybe beating her up and over the shoulder.
Good draw win by McNinch there. Back to Perlinger. And a check. Good defensive check on McNinch allows Regina to clear it with 20 seconds left in power play number 4 for Swift.
That's a smart play by Regina, as they've adapted to McNinch getting the puck on the half wall and trying to cut out to the center slot area, as they just stayed tight to her, knowing the puck was going to come back to her.
Henderson, good anticipation there. Broke up a pass by Keller. Now Keller's in. Threw it towards the goal. Oh, for a moment there, Schlamp was wondering, had she lost it? Instead, that's penalty kill number 4 for Regina in this game. Swift down a goal. And any one of those power plays with 2 posts hit could have this game tied. Instead, Regina's up 1 with 7:54 to go in the third period.
I guess special teams would be the difference currently, as Regina scored on one of theirs currently.
And away comes the pass up to center. Followed up. Shot to the net. Good pad save made by Keeler. As Henderson worked it back to the line. A slap shot by Nimigers. And that's caught and held by goaltender Carly Leonard with 7:26 to go in the third. A 3-2 Swift Current lead.
Down.
Puck worked back to the line here. Nimigears gets it again. Slap shot. Missed the net. Henderson's on it. 3-2 Regina leading. Back to the line for Nimigears. She'll rip it wide. Hayhurst. Pass down to Henderson. Broken up by Swift. Jones. Tried to move that to Swan. Intercepted by Hayhurst. Her centering feed blocked by Jones. And a little skate now for Jones. As that's dumped deep into the Regina zone. Pass down the right side. Long lead feed. Jones there. Intercepts. Fed back ahead for McNinch. She'll go to it in the corner. Dug free there by Metzger. Now McNinch will head off for a change as Metzger forechecks hard in the corner. Can't get control of it. Turned back up ice now by Regina. They'll flick that deep. Oh, trying to catch. Petford headed to the net. And instead, loved and held by Carly Lehner. 3-2, Regina leading. 5:56 to go. Here's Keller. Away down the right wing side. Skates it in. Offside the call. As Metzger was waiting at the line for her. Keller decided to skate it in, and they could not come together. And a neutral zone draw coming up. 5:47 left in the third. Still a 1-goal lead for Regina. Puck's in some skates there. Worked right wing side for the Rebels and fired in deep by Ashley Grice. Girard will send it behind the net. Oop, a little bit of a tumble for two players. Following up Perlinger, and she's away. Nice move to the left side. Perlinger driving in, has a lane, cuts to the net, and ran out of real estate. Now a wraparound try. Thompson whacks at it. And Peyton Schlamp is going to gobble that puck up. A 1-goal lead for Regina with 5:10 left in the third period.
So Current now leading in shots with 30. They've had a really strong period here. And
they made one crucial mistake after tying the game, giving that lane to the net for Alexis Petford. Beyond that, it's been an excellent period for Swift. And it's a tough team to come back from. They did it once already this period. But they've closed up that middle again a little bit since earlier in the frame when it had opened up, and an icing call here against Regina.
Yeah, and Swift had that post on the power play, but outside of that, they didn't create a ton there, and they've had 4 power plays, so wouldn't really be banking on another one with only 4:41 here to go. They might have to create another even strength goal here to tie this.
Wildcats get the puck off a draw in the offensive zone. Keller couldn't get it to the net. Works it back to the line for Jones. She thought of going across to Bouffard, then threw it to the net, and it ends up rolling wide. Ooh, and Metzger's going to take a penalty there as she gets tied up at the side of the goal, and a hook called against the Swift Current captain. With 4:21 to go, a crucial penalty kill. Not only do they absolutely have to kill this penalty off, David, but it eats away 2 big minutes.
Yeah, they kill it off, and you're just down to 2:21, and really you're almost at goalie pull time kind of deal there on the other side. So as much as you need the kill, if you have a chance offensively killing too, you might have to go for it.
And they'll work it around Nimigears. Gets it back again. Moves to her backhand to the net, and that's blocked by Bacchus. Turning, shooting, Petford hit the crossbar. And boy, you can hear that ping. She gets it back again. The league leading scorer works it to the line. Here's Henderson. Petford had it bounce off her stick. Followed up by Girard as Petford lost her stick. Now Girard has a lane, shot it, and the rebound bounced away from Henderson. Followed up by Girard to the line. Nimigears holds, crosses, lost the handle. Appel couldn't get there. Oh, and Appel bowls over Nimigears. And another penalty coming to Swift. With 3:12 to go, it'll be a 5-on-3 for Regina. And that opportunity to push back, if they kill all this off, drops down to 1:12.
Yeah, 72 seconds, not ideal. But they certainly have their work cut out for them here.
Job one. Get through the next 51 seconds of 5-on-3. Regina leaves everybody on the ice. Slap shot try by Nimigears is blocked. Nimigears gets it again. Oh, Johns actually came out. Over to Petford. She'll shoot. Glove save by Lehner. As Petford tried to label that one for the top corner, and Lehner snared it.
Tough one because Hayhurst was right on the doorstep, kind of in Lehner's way, actually, and Lehner was able to snare it kind of near head mask area.
Face-off won by Swift. Big draw win by McNinch. Clearing attempt, gets out! And down the ice with 30 seconds remaining in this 5-on-3 for Regina. They'll start from their own end with it. Up the center. Into Swift Current territory. Hayhurst shot. Stopped by Keller. By Lehner, sorry, and the rebound bounced wide. Comes to Hayhurst again. To the middle. Shot deflected. And a couple of tough stops for Carly Lehner. And that first save, maybe the toughest, as the shot was redirected and slowed right down. And she'd already committed the right pad and had to kick it out again to keep that one out.
Impressive. And huge stops, too, to keep her team right in this, as they're almost killed the first penalty, at least, to get off the 5-on-3, and they'll do that as we speak.
Big draw win again by McNinch. 2 huge face-off wins by McNinch. As Thompson's on the ice and she'll clear, and McNinch is going to skate after it out of her net to play that puck is Schlamp. Now Swift's going to have to think about getting aggressive with penalty kill time of 50 seconds to go and only 2 minutes left in this third period. Hayhurst across, shot high and wide by Petford. This top unit stays out for the power play for Regina. And a chance, side of the goal for Petford, broken up. Buffard will clear. And down the ice it goes. 30 seconds left. The top unit still out there. If you're Swift, maybe you try to pressure them to make a mistake, as that's icing or offside against the Rebels with 20 seconds of power play time left, and now they will change.
One player. What? What's the gas tank?
Now Petford's going off. Yeah, now they'll switch most of them. Boy, it looked like, jeez, that was already a 3-minute shift for a couple of those players.
Talk about burning on fumes.
15 seconds of power play time left for the Rebels. 1:22 left in the third. Nice job forcing it in by Henderson. She'll center it. That doesn't get to Hayhurst. Nice move again by Henderson. She's upended and close to a potential penalty there again. As that's fired up. Great pass by Bacchus onto the bench. Here comes Lehner. 6-on-5 here for Swift. Watain keeps the play alive. She'll move it behind the goal. Pressure on. Move to the corner. Chance to clear for Regina. That'll get out. Down the ice. And not enough for an icing. Rubley. Down the stretch we come. 38 seconds left. Here's Keller. Gets it into Regina territory. Pressured. Puck's underneath a couple people. Picked up by Thompson. Threw it towards the goal. That deflects to the corner. Bacchus has it. Bacchus centers it. Redirected. Loose puck. Rebound chance. It's still loose. And then knocked away to the wall. Metzger's got it there, and she's forced out to the neutral zone. 10 seconds to go. Pass deflected by Bacchus. Watain can't get it back in. They're going to try to pin it next to the Regina bench, and that will basically do it. What a scramble around the Regina goal. And cleared away, and it looks like the Rebels will hang on.
That's got to be tough for Swift. They look like they had a couple chances there in tight. I think at least 2, and somehow got pushed out of the...
Well, they'll get it to the net, but as the buzzer goes, a very entertaining third period. An explosion of goals early as Swift got 2 in 30 seconds to tie it, but gave one up right after to Alexis Petford. And Regina hangs on. And that's the challenge, David, of trying to come from behind. You play a great third period like Swift did, despite that one mistake on the goal and then a couple of ill-timed penalties late. But your margin of error is non-existent when you're down 2-0. And the Wildcats were close. A couple of posts on power plays too. But it's Regina hanging on for a 3-2 win in a battle of two excellent teams.
It's got to be tough for Swift, who were able to battle back from that 2-0 deficit too, right? And then before you know it, Regina's right back on top. they didn't really give Swift any breathing room once they got it squared. Petford made that unbelievable shot that beat Lehner up high, and that's the difference today. And I guess really the difference was special teams.
Yeah.
Both teams didn't capitalize a ton, but the one that was capitalized on was Regina, and that ended up, I guess, being the difference maker. I mean, Swift had, 4 power plays?
Yeah.
And nothing there, so.
Well, that'll wrap it up for us. Our next broadcast is February 16th, a week from today. Right back here, Notre Dame's going to be here. And then a couple with Saskatoon that weekend on the 19th and 20th of February. So those are big games to close the year out for Swift Current in the regular season. Their next action after this one, they're in Weyburn Friday and Saturday. So those are games that you basically have to win. I mean, it's a team that they've handled well so far this year. But their winning streak snapped here in a close one against Regina. A big game with Notre Dame coming a week from today. Those are, I mean, standings-wise, must-win games against Weyburn this weekend.
Oh, very much so, because last thing you want to do is deal with Saskatoon breathing down your neck when you're ending the season at home on the Saturday, Sunday. So you want to take care of business this weekend. And then you want to get prepped for that game against the Hounds here. Dig in, maybe have a better start, or not fall behind by a couple of goals to the Hounds, because it's almost a similar task.
Yeah.
And you want to get ready for the playoffs, because Regina and Notre Dame are the teams you're probably going to have to beat if you want the championship.
Well, a real good, entertaining hockey game here sees the Regina Rebels beat the Swift Current Innovation Credit Union Wildcats by a 3-2 score, as the league's leading scorer found a hole for the game winner after Swift had come back to tie it up early in the third. For David Zammit and the whole ASTV team back at our studios, I'm Sean Mullen. We'll talk to you a week from tonight when the Wildcats play Notre Dame. This has been Swift Current Innovation Credit Union Wildcat Hockey on Amateur Sports TV.